Good evening. Hey, it's Pastor Mary, and it is beautiful Tuesday, June 8th. I couldn't figure out what day it was, and I was making a phone call, and I had to look it up on my phone because I am kind of in the zone with the dates. Sam had his birthday in May, and Christopher's birthday is this Sunday. He will be 21 on the 13th, and we have dear friends coming in to town tomorrow on the 9th. So now I'm getting my dates together, but somebody's joined me. Good. I don't know who it is yet. It will show up. Oh, Cheryl, you're so good. You're so good. Good evening. I hope you are having sunshine there. I talked to my friend Deb in Bloomington today. She said you all have had a lot of rain. We've had some spurts of rain. We really need rain bad, and we had a little bit of rain here. Well, you're my first one, Cheryl. We'll see if everybody else remembered that I'm on tonight. So, when we go from Friday to Tuesday, people kind of forget sometimes. And it's summer, so people are busy doing stuff. But, it's good to be together. So you must be having a little problem with being on because it says you're watching again. So, and a couple people have told me when that happens, that usually there's something going on with the connection. So, there's 3 more, but they aren't showing up yet. So, I hope they show up here in a minute. I'm just putting up a note, but now I'm 5. Wow. Well, whoever else is on here, good evening. You're not showing Bill. I knew you'd be on here. Bill and Kathy. Good evening. I assume Kathy's with you. I'm just putting a note up in case anybody forgot. Somebody already signed off. Hey, April. Good evening. It was good to see you on Sunday. It was good to see you. I'm just putting a note up so people will know. Okay. Good evening, Sandra. Good evening, good evening. So, yes, I just put a note up. Because when we go from Friday night, Paula, good evening, Paula. Oh, do you hear that? That's thunder. Wow. But it's bright and sunshiny here. Wow. Unless the sound barrier was broken, but I don't expect that. We are in a flight path here where we are. We're about a half an hour from Atlanta Hartsfield Airport. Well, actually, Cheryl, we've gone. Hey, good evening, Paula. We've gone back to indoor services. Yes, you said indoor. Sorry, they're going well. They're going well. Yeah, we've had a good turnout, and they're going well so far. Just trying to figure all the being online stuff out. Sam's doing a good job, and we may switch things up next month. We may see. He suggested we use a GoPro camera. You probably use something like that at your church so you can get a couple different angles and things like that. Because somebody yesterday said to me, oh, that may be guns being shot. There's a place over this way. I can't tell. I don't know if it's thunder or it's a gunshot or what it is. But anyway, okay, I was talking about being online. I know, Joan Thomas said to me she had watched online because she had surgery on her eye today, and she was having to quarantine, and she said, well, I didn't see who was there, and I said, well, that's a good point. We'll have to scan the crowd that's there before we have worship, so those who can't be there will see who's there, because she wondered who was there, and so I said, well, that's a good point. So we're always open to suggestions, what people think. Good evening, Phyllis. I'm glad you're on here. So glad to have you all with me tonight. So it's a new week. As I said, it's June 8th. We have dear friends, young friends from our Johnny and Friends camp that we go to in Michigan who are flying in tomorrow from Michigan. They're coming to see us. Good evening, Don. Good evening. So Matthew and James, I'll see if I can get them on here one night with me. Just so you all know, we will have Wednesday night on tomorrow night, but then Wednesday night worship service outdoors is starting. Hey, Karen, good evening. is starting next Wednesday, a week from Wednesday, which I believe is the 16th. So we're going to try to broadcast that. I will be at that, and we'll be sharing a little word there. But that's what we hope to have on for next Wednesday night is our Wednesday evening worship service. It's something we've had, St. John has had for years and years. It's more contemporary, a lot of contemporary music, which I enjoy. I enjoy all kinds of music and all kinds of church music. I enjoy it all. I love gospel. That's my favorite, I would say. I was in gospel choir in seminary, and we had a gospel choir at our wedding. Now I think that's shooting. I don't think that's thunder, but I don't know. The sound is really interesting. But I got to say this. It reminds me of when David and I don't think we were quite engaged, but I was with him at an outdoor theater, drive-in movie theater in his area where he's from in Santa Maria, California. And it was like June. And this we may have been married by then. Anyway, I hear this sound and I said, wow, that's thunder. And he goes, Mary, it doesn't rain here in June. That can't be thunder. Well, sure enough, my Midwestern ears knew thunder, and it rained within 15, 20 minutes of hearing that, and it was thunder. So, but this has been an interesting sound. So I don't know. It's really interesting. I don't know if you all could hear it on here or not, but thank you, Paula. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'm so glad that you are doing so well, and we will continue to pray for you. Just for you to stay that way, to stay doing well, and that your health is good. So, let's see. Okay, so I was reading to you some last week from Hallelujah Anyway by Anne Lamott. If you've never read her, I recommend any of her books. Help, Thanks, Wow, which is her book on prayer that I shared, I think, during Lent last year. Really great book. I really like it. She talks about life in a faithful way. So she's not one of those dry, and forgive me, because there's plenty of good theologians to read, and everybody has different tastes. But I really enjoy her because she's a very honest person about where she's at, what's going on in her life, what's happening. The book that if you have not read her before, that I recommend starting with is Traveling Mercies. It's called Some Thoughts on Faith. I think that was her first big book, but it's really an enjoyable book. She's written a number of books since then. It's fun to sit outside. I'm watching a bumblebee drink the nectar from my beautiful flowers, and I actually am loving that, seeing God's nature at work right in front of me. It's just a big fat bumblebee sucking on some pink and purple flowers. I'll probably try to show them to you before I'm done tonight. So, but anyway, I had read some from this last week, and I wanted to read a little bit more this week. And I wanted to share that the part that I'm going to read with you doesn't necessarily. You may say, well, there's not scripture, but I think what hits me about this part that I was reading is the part about where Jesus talks about loving your neighbor as yourself, and about being able to love yourself, because sometimes we can show more grace and more goodness to the other person than we show to ourselves. And what does that say about how we regard ourselves? It doesn't say a whole lot about how we regard ourselves. And we are made in God's image, and we should be trying to do our best to regard ourselves. But that's hard, and especially the way we may have been raised, or the things we heard about ourselves said by our family, or by classmates, or by so-called friends, who maybe made fun of us, or pointed out things about us. And it can be really hard. And I know I struggled with self-esteem issues in my teens and in my 20s a great deal, and I really covered it up with a big smile. But it really came to a head while I was in college, and I really had to face some of that and deal with it, and really find ways to forgive myself and in not being a perfect person, because nobody's perfect. And no matter how hard we try, we just aren't there. We all make mistakes. We all fall short. We all do things that hurts other people. So the bumblebees really like my house today. Boy, I'll tell you. I have a really gorgeous plant sitting here next to me too that I planted. I've had so much dental work done this year. I had to go today. I got 3 shots in the side of my mouth because I had a tooth that had to be cleaned out, and I have to get a cap made, and it took quite a while. But you know how that is. You have that fuzzy tongue, and it just feels really strange. But I've been to the dentist so much this year that we are having an ongoing conversation about gardens and growing things. And so I was talking to the dental assistant or hygienist about growing things, and we were talking about tomatoes, and she was going to take pictures because I'll be back in a few weeks to get the fitting. Hey, good evening, Joan. But anyway, I also put in a pot for Samuel. I'm growing jalapeno peppers. I don't like jalapeno peppers myself, but I'm growing them for him, and man, this plant is beautiful. And I was telling her this is what I go to that helps me. Whether you plant a garden or you plant in pots, I'm a pot planter. I have basil growing. I have catnip growing. I have oregano growing. I have baby cherry tomatoes growing. I have lots of flowers and plants growing. But what I've learned the last few years is there's a box of Miracle Grow stuff. It's a blue granulated, and you take like a gallon milk jug or drink jug of some kind, clean it out, use that, put the crystals in. It tells you how much to use, shake it up, and then water all your plants with it, and it just makes them explode and grow. And they're so lovely. I love looking at them. I really enjoy them, and I'm so glad sometimes I buy things and then I don't plant forever. And this time I really got my act together, and I planted over probably 6 weeks ago. And I've got another, what did I get? Not oregano. I already have, yeah. I got another herb that I'm going to plant. I'll remember it not cilantro, but another one. So anyway, I love being outside. I'm glad I can be outside with you tonight. So I'm going to read you part of a chapter from Hallelujah Anyway called Gold Leaf. Rilke wrote, I want to unfold. I don't want to stay folded anywhere, because where I am folded, there I am a lie. We got folded by trying as hard as we could to make everyone happy, to please everyone, and to fill every moment with productivity. Our grown-ups said this would bring approval, and approval would bring satisfaction, and they would like us more. But we also learned to sabotage ourselves so they wouldn't feel eclipsed. High achievement made the family look good, but also seemed to be another nail in Dad's coffin. We agreed to get folded at school and in jobs to get ahead, shine the family star, fill our Swiss cheese holes. We got folded and fooled into airless states of accomplishment, estrangement from ourselves, squandering our very short lives. Then we folded ourselves so we wouldn't annoy or embarrass our kids. Self-importance fueled by performance anxiety, people-pleasing, sloth, and bad self-esteem wrapped us into small, crisp squares like professionally laundered shirts. I was there this week. I liked it briefly because folded feels like home, small, familiar, hugged. I like smells of soap and steam and starch. Then it becomes oppressive and disorienting. Even a lot of caffeine and cheery new curtains doesn't help. We got creased in those places such a long time ago that it seems hopeless to begin the great unfolding now. Our integrity got broken. I am not sure we got strong at the broken places, although people love to say this happens. In truth, when I broke my toe, the doctor said it will take forever to heal and never be quite as good as it was. Life 101. It still hurts sometimes. This was just a big toe. Big parts of us got broken, parts of our hearts, minds, and beings. Yet we keep getting up, lurching on. We dance with a limp. When other people look hunched or pummeled, I know what to do and say to help them recolonize their bodies and lives. I say, stop the train. Be where your butt is. Make shift from foot to foot, as in a chanting dance or swaying a baby to sleep, because ritualized shifting keeps you a little shaken up, good shaken, unstuck. I would say life can be painful, but I am right here and you have a good heart. This heart is who you are, not your bad mind. I would tell a person, you have the right to remain silent. Would you like a nice cup of tea? Some M&Ms? Let's sprawl. Unfold those creaky wings. But this unfolding could mean we miss deadlines by days or decades, ending our careers and harming our standing. Our parents bit the bullet, stayed in bad marriages, kept jobs they hated. This is the American way. Some of us have spent our whole lives protecting kids and pets from our parents, even parents who did not yell or get out the belt. We had younger siblings to save and whole litters of kittens and cousins with their own neglectful or malnourished parents. We were the light of the world by which other kids could be led out of Egypt. We walked on eggshells. We tiptoed and tightrope walked. Of course our feet ached, like Chinese-bound feet in plaid keds. The effect of being hobbled and failing to save our siblings, the cats, ourselves, was anxiety, endless striving to do better and be more admired by the world. The path away from judgment of self and neighbor requires major mercy, both giving and horribly receiving. Going without either of them leads to fundamentalism of all stripes, and fundamentalism is the bane of poor Mother Earth. Going without engenders blame, which offers its own solace but traps us like foxes. We trick out box traps with throw, rugs, and faces until the pain grows too big. Then the only way out of jail is forgiveness. There should be an app with a checklist or a map. But no, the way out takes admitting that you're wrong and sorry. No, anything but that. Forgiving people makes you weak. Push them away. Lewis Smedes said, to forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you. But I can't launch forgiveness of my own volition or my air traffic controller mind. We avail ourselves through failure, service, singing, silence, neighbors, sorrow. To have borne broken hearts and seen such broken lives around the world is what gives us a shot at becoming mercy people. My minister friend Bill Rankin tells me that in Malawi, men in the villages stand back unto death and allow women and children to have the few available antiretroviral medications. The motive of the men is the merciful determination that the children should be given a chance to survive and should not be forced to live without their mothers. We can be those men. We were. Most young children are. One has to be done with the pretense of being just fine, unscarred, perfectly self-sufficient. No one is. The ancient Chinese had a practice of embellishing the cracked parts of valued possessions with gold leaf, which says, we dishonor it if we pretend that it hadn't gotten broken. It says we value this enough to repair it. So it is not denial or a cover-up. It is the opposite, an adornment of the break with gold leaf, which draws the cracks into greater prominence. The gold leaf becomes part of its beauty. Somehow the aesthetic of its having been cracked but still being here, brought back not to baseline but restored, brings increase. This is so un-American. Most of the time we throw it out, cover it up with a doily, or patch the crack so we can still sell the item. Boy, does that sound familiar. This other way is to save our valuables with our own hands, to pass on to our children, nieces, and nephews. Aunties chipped Inuit carving, Uncle Will's journals. And if they toss Uncle Will's journals rich in memories and minutiae of this family story, that's on them. Not our fault for once. Reason enough to get out the gold leaf. We are invited to be part of creation, like planting shade trees for children whose parents were born last week. I really love that because, like a lot of Anne Lamott's writing, she gets real. She calls it like it is in ways that I think we have to think about, but that can make us think about our own lives. Now, forgive me just a minute. I'm going to move this over so I'm under cover because I believe the rain is coming, and I'd like to stay out here if I could until I finish. Whoa, there's my glass. Sorry. And I think that was thunder that I heard. Anyway, so reading that, it's something to read again and again, but it's a reminder that we often are our worst critics. We often don't get real. When people ask you, how are you doing? What do you say? Most of the time we say, I am fine, even when we are not fine. One time, and I've shared this story a number of times, working in Illinois at the church we were at, one of the people I was working with, it was a regular day, and I just said, how are you doing? And she said, do you really want to know? And I said, yes, I do really want to know. Not many people say that. Some people, I'm told not to ask how they're doing because they will go on and on and on about their ailments. And yet, everybody needs to be heard. Everybody needs to know they're not alone. Everybody needs someone to hear them. The real them, not just the I am fine them, but the real them. And I really love this because I think it really gives us a sense of that self-forgiveness, or that forgiveness that comes from God that can help us forgive ourselves, because all too often we don't forgive ourselves, even when God forgives us. How egotistical are we that God can forgive us and we cannot forgive ourselves? So I encourage you to be more real, more understanding with yourself. Be okay with the cracks. Use the gold leaf if you can in your life. Understand, but at the same time, not that you need to seek perfection, but when you realize something maybe about yourself, I know I realize stuff about myself all the time. What am I going to do to make it better, or can I? Can I seek forgiveness if I've wronged somebody? Am I willing to do the hard work of saying I'm sorry? Can I forgive myself? Wow, you can really hear it coming now. The rain is going to come in just a minute. I think I'm going to have to leave you all. Hey, no prayers tonight, but a special intention. I will see you tomorrow night. Sorry, I'm cutting this off short. We'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow night, but I think I better head in. Stay safe wherever you are. I hope in the Midwest you're getting less rain. You've had so much rain. And I hope it's been good for the crops and isn't killing them. And everybody here, if you've got rain, oh, thank you, Paula. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. I want to live up to that, but I'm so far from perfect. It's not even funny. But do yourself a favor, okay? Be kind to yourself. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a chance to work things out, even if it's just with yourself. Stop the negative talk. Come up with some affirmations. Hey, I'm good. Remember Stuart Smiley on Saturday Night Live? What was it? I'm trying to remember. I'll have to look it up. I'm good. I'm whatever. And doggone it, people like me. And that's good. So stay real. Be who you are. Love yourself. Forgive yourself just as you forgive and love other people. Have a great evening. And I will see you again tomorrow night. Take care. Good night.